Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Daily Book Summary YouTube channel. In order to not stop learning, listen to an English book summary every day for free.
Andy Craig and Dave Human. Weekend Language. Presenting with more stories and less PowerPoint. The way you speak at a weekend party compared to a weekday meeting is probably drastically different. On the weekend, you're a natural storyteller, sharing anecdotes that make friends laugh, gasp, and repeat your story across the room. By Monday morning, however, you've transformed into someone who discusses mission-critical, synergetic, seamless solutions while bombarding colleagues with 118-slide presentations. The truth is, we're at our best when we use weekend language. Conversational, clear storytelling that naturally engages listeners. Yet, the moment we step in front of a professional audience, that natural flow disappears, replaced by dry, forgettable business speak. The result? Audiences disengage and messages get lost. This blink is about reclaiming that authentic, weekend confidence during your work week. By focusing on narrative, simplicity, and clarity, you'll learn how to turn mundane business presentations into compelling stories that captivate your audience. Whether you're pitching an idea, leading a meeting, or delivering a keynote, you'll learn to communicate with impact and keep your audience hooked from start to finish. And it all starts with one simple shift. Temporarily setting aside PowerPoint, a move that might just revolutionize the way you communicate. Ban PowerPoint for 30 days to become a better presenter. Every day, 30 million PowerPoint presentations are delivered worldwide, and 90% of them fail to engage their audiences. In fact, people are so desperate for a better experience that in one survey, 24% of respondents said they would rather give up sex for the night than sit through another bad presentation. But the real problem isn't PowerPoint itself, it's how we use it. Most presentations are built backwards. The speaker starts with slides and then figures out what to say. This approach leads to cluttered, ineffective content, presenters who lack clarity and confidence, and messages that don't stick once the audience walks away. So, what's the alternative? The alternative approach is Pecha Kucha. 20 slides, 20 seconds each, which forces concise, efficient presentations of just 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Or you could follow the 3-second rule, where visuals are so simple that the audience can absorb them in 3 seconds before returning their attention to you. Or take a radical step. Ban PowerPoint entirely for 30 days in your organization. Without this crutch, presenters will be forced to think through each point they're making, how to verbally illustrate it, and what visuals might reinforce it instead. You'll need to prepare more and prepare longer, but on presentation day, your audience will find it much easier to understand your message. Remember that you are the presentation, not your slides. As Steve Jobs bluntly put it, people who know what they're talking about don't need PowerPoint. For example, consider how Bill Gates captivated his TED audience by releasing actual mosquitoes during his talk on malaria, or how Adidas COO Glenn Bennett ditched slides entirely for a town hall meeting, using only a flip chart and surprise handouts hidden under audience chairs. To implement this 30-day ban, remove projectors and laptops from meetings. Encourage your team to develop their narratives first, focusing on what they want the audience to do after listening. Build presentations around a single key point rather than dozens of slides. When you do return to using slides after your 30-day experiment, use them wisely and sparingly. Try hitting the B key to temporarily blank the screen during discussions. hide detailed slides that are only needed in handouts, and use presenter mode to keep your notes visible only to you. By putting audience needs first and breaking your PowerPoint dependency, you'll deliver more engaging, authentic, and effective presentations that people will actually remember. Stories make business messages stick. Storytelling skills, much like muscles, atrophy when neglected in professional settings. This overlooked truth has profound implications for business communication, as stories provide unmatched clarity for your company vision, products, and purpose. When you harness narrative power in presentations, you are directly connecting with your audience on a human level. The reality is, your audience hates corporate jargon, those empty phrases that sound important but say nothing. No one cares about a company being a leading provider of end-to-end mission-critical solutions. They care about what they get from working with you. Stories convey these messages without sounding artificial or impersonal. And don't worry, you already have powerful storytelling tools at your disposal. Examples are essential because they make broad concepts tangible. When web content management company Vignette wanted to showcase its scalability, they didn't drown people in technical specs. Instead, they told the story of NASA using their technology to stream the Deep Impact probe collision to 250 million people simultaneously, the largest internet event on record at the time. Anecdotes capture real moments that resonate. An athletic apparel company could list the features of its lightweight fabric, or it could tell the story of a young boy picking up their shorts, feeling how light they were, and immediately asking where to buy them. Which version is more compelling? Analogies create instant understanding. When Golfsmith repositioned itself as a candy store for golfers and the Home Depot of the $6 billion golf retail industry, reporters repeated those phrases almost verbatim in their coverage. Backstories add depth and authenticity. A touchscreen computer described as a rich, seamless computing paradigm sounds dull. But hearing that it was developed in a garage by two engineers using an IKEA table and duct tape, that's a story people remember. To find great stories, think like a journalist. Do the reporting. Talk to the people in your company who know the details. When Vignette's team crafted their NASA story, they interviewed the salesperson, account manager, and customer to get every vivid detail right. A simple word can transform any presentation. Imagine. Saying, "Imagine you're the head of technology at Zappos after a security breach exposes 24 million users' data to hackers," immediately makes abstract cybersecurity software feel urgent and real. For your next presentation, find a story that connects directly to your key message. The extra effort to uncover and develop these stories will pay off when your audience remembers what you said, long after all those bullet points have faded from memory. Organize your narrative for maximum impact. The first 2 minutes of any presentation are critical. During these opening moments, your audience is fully engaged, eyes and ears wide open, actively listening and neurologically hooked. After this brief window, however, there's usually a huge drop-off in attention. Many presenters make the fatal mistake of saving their best content for last. Instead, lead with your strongest material and organize everything using journalism's inverted pyramid structure. Most important information first, supporting details later. Your message needs to pass what the experts call the "so what, who cares" test that audiences instinctively apply. When a customer asks, "What do you do?" they're actually asking, what can you do for me? Software company Zilliant demonstrated this principle when they transformed their technical language about optimizing pricing in B2B environments into customer-focused value. We take the guesswork out of pricing and put money right back in your pocket as pure profit. This shift in perspective helped their self-described boring CEO, Greg Peters, deliver a presentation with such impact that it ranked second only to the professional speaker at their conference. Help your audience track your progress by using signposts. Author and venture capitalist Guy Kawasaki structures his presentations as top 10 lists, not because audiences will remember all 10 points, but because this format allows listeners to easily track his progress. When an audience hears point 6 15 minutes into a talk, they can estimate they're about halfway through, creating a reassuring sense of orientation. This contrasts sharply with speakers who exceed their allotted time with no end in sight, causing audiences to mentally disengage or physically leave. By clearly indicating your presentation's duration and structure, then finishing slightly early, you earn audience appreciation. People value speakers who respect their time and provide a roadmap for the presentation journey. Remember, being clear isn't dumbing it down. It actually requires more intelligence to explain complex ideas simply. Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman was called the Great Explainer because he was so effective at making quantum physics understandable to college freshmen. His principle was that if a topic could not be explained in a freshman lecture, it wasn't fully understood. To structure your communication effectively, use magic words that naturally lead to clarity and engagement. Phrases like, "what that means is," for example, "our customers tell us," "think of it this way," and "what makes us different," seamlessly guide your audience toward deeper understanding while reinforcing key points with relatable stories. Remember, when crafting your narrative, step into your audience's shoes. If you were sitting in the 20th row, what would you want to hear? Your presentation should feel authentic, conversational, and laser-focused on audience benefits. The goal isn't just to inform, it's to connect, engage, and leave a lasting impression. Your body speaks louder than your words. So you've crafted the content and structure of your presentation, but that's only half the battle. How you deliver your message matters just as much as what you say. According to research by Dr. Albert Mehrabian, up to 93% of audience perception comes from vocal tone and body language, not just words. This means your physical delivery can either amplify your message or completely undermine it. Mastering your voice begins with strategic pausing. When President Obama delivered his 2009 inauguration speech, he paused for several seconds between phrases, isolating critical words: humbled, grateful, and mindful. These deliberate silences gave his massive audience time to absorb key messages. You can create a similar impact by visualizing your speech as peaks or key points and valleys or pauses. Mark your presentation with circles to remind yourself where to pause, and keep water nearby to create natural breaks. Your pacing reveals your comfort with the material. When adrenaline kicks in, you might speak too rapidly, turning your presentation into a verbal fire hose. Combat this by practicing a conversational tempo and varying your volume. Aim for a volume level of 6 to 7 out of 10, occasionally dialing up or down for emphasis. For remote presentations, stand up and use a headset. You're more believable when standing. Verbal fillers like and you know can derail even the most brilliant content. A study found these fillers constituted 25% of recorded conversations. One corporate economist's presentation was so riddled with ums that executives began betting on how many he'd use rather than listening to his analysis. Thorough practice remains your best defense against these credibility killers. Visually, remember that eyes always beat ears. Move with purpose in a shallow semicircle facing your audience, which forces them to follow you physically and mentally. Comedian Chris Rock explained that if you stay in the same place, people can chat to their friends. But if you move, they have to pay attention. Avoid podiums whenever possible. They create barriers between you and your audience and encourage reading rather than connecting. Also, try maintaining eye contact with each audience member for 1 to 2 seconds. Longer feels confrontational, briefer seems insincere. Gesture above your shoulders in large venues, and remember the rule: larger rooms require bigger gestures. Always open by smiling. Audiences mirror your emotional state, and a genuine smile creates immediate connection. By aligning your words, voice, and body, you'll deliver presentations that feel authentic and engaging. Your audience won't just hear your message, they'll feel it. Practice creates the illusion of spontaneity. The most natural-looking, seemingly effortless presentations require the most rigorous preparation. Many executives resist practicing, often claiming they do their best work when being spontaneous. Yet Steve Jobs, often cited as the epitome of an authentic, spontaneous presenter, would spend 2 full days in dress rehearsal for each 45-minute Macworld keynote, even having a porta potty installed so he wouldn't need to leave the stage. This level of commitment isn't uncommon among master communicators. Winston Churchill prepared 45 minutes for every minute of speech he delivered. Martin Luther King Jr. practiced 15 hours weekly for his Sunday sermons. Anthony Hopkins rehearsed his lines over 250 times to prepare for his Oscar-winning Hannibal Lecter role. Their preparation created the very spontaneity others tried to achieve by not practicing. The trick is building muscle memory through out-loud practice. Speaking silently in your head won't help you develop the rhythms, emphasis points, and natural delivery that come from vocalizing. Record your rehearsals whenever possible. Seeing yourself as others see you provides invaluable feedback on both content and delivery. Kevin Hogan, CEO of Zurich Global Life Insurance, exemplifies effective preparation. Before addressing 300 top business leaders, he spent 7 hours developing his narrative on camera, then continued practicing at home, sending video recordings of progressive improvements to his coach. The result? A confident delivery with a memorable opening about engines, hedgehogs, and Sherpas that captivated his audience. Approach your presentation preparation like a professional athlete reviewing game footage. Begin rehearsing several weeks before your scheduled talk, prioritizing content development without slides. Record these practice sessions and analyze them critically to identify strengths and areas for improvement. Sports coaches across disciplines use video review because it reveals what truly works and what doesn't. The same principle applies to public speaking. Plan to invest approximately 1 hour of preparation for each minute of your final presentation. While this might seem excessive, consider the potential cost of an unprepared presentation to important stakeholders. Fortunately, this investment decreases for future variations of the same content. Don't rely solely on audience applause to gauge your effectiveness. Instead, create a simple evaluation form that assesses 3 dimensions: verbal, your content; vocal, your delivery, rhythm, and pacing; and visual, your movements and presence. Distribute these forms during rehearsals and after actual presentations to gather invaluable feedback. The combination of video review and structured evaluation provides unparalleled insight into how your message is received. Though facing this level of scrutiny may feel uncomfortable initially, the resulting improvement in your presentation skills will prove well worth the temporary discomfort. The main takeaway from this Blink 2 Weekend Language by Andy Craig and Dave Human is that effective business communication comes from tapping into your natural weekend storytelling skills, even in professional settings. Instead of relying on PowerPoint as a crutch, focus on crafting clear, compelling narratives first. Use concrete examples, anecdotes, and analogies to make abstract concepts tangible and meaningful for your audience. When structuring your content, lead with your strongest material in the first 2 minutes, following journalism's inverted pyramid approach. Always pass the "so what, who cares" test by focusing on audience benefits rather than dry technical features. Use signposts to help listeners follow your message and finish slightly early. Your audience will appreciate it. Delivery matters just as much as content. Since up to 93% of audience perception comes from vocal tone and body language, mastering strategic pauses, controlled pacing, and purposeful movement will enhance your message. Eliminate distracting verbal fillers through deliberate preparation and practice. The best presenters, from Steve Jobs to Winston Churchill, may seem effortlessly spontaneous, but their secret is rigorous preparation. Practice out loud, record yourself, and seek structured feedback to continuously refine your delivery. While shifting your presentation approach may feel uncomfortable at first, the ability to truly connect with and persuade others is a skill that will serve you throughout your professional life. Well, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating, as we always appreciate your feedback. See you again in the next Blink.